Starting from zero, he had a strong Austrian accent.
You have no business out here.
Those things don't always fine enough.
His last name was almost unpronounceable for many Americans.
Your name is pronounced Schwarzenegger or Schwarzenegger?
Producers told him that he was too muscular, but Arnold refused to listen. He worked hard and knew that one day an opportunity would come. And it came in 1982. The movie Conan the Barbarian changed everything. 2 years later came the film that made him a legend, The Terminator. This movie became a part of history.
I'm afraid Miss Yarra.
Why Hercules falls? Arnold was not just an actor. Arnold proved that you do not have to fit into the system to succeed. From an immigrant that nobody believed in, he became the biggest action hero in the world.
Your last name too long, unpronounceable, and you came to Hollywood with almost no money, probably, right? So what did you expect there? You know, what surprised you the most at the moment? Was it what you were expecting, or was it much harder? How was it there? You know, when you got there, the first day you arrived, you were there alone, family back there, no support. How you felt?
Well, let's not forget that I have now just won Mr. Universe 5 times, and I've won Mr. World, and I've won Mr. Olympia, and all of those competitions. So it was time for me to retire and to get into acting. And Hollywood was kind of used to that, because there was Mickey Hackett, who was Hungarian, who came to America, and he did a Hercules movie, did some muscle movies, and then eventually got married to Jane Mansfield. And there were other guys that were having muscular bodies that were getting into the movie business. But the problem I had was that times have changed. So they were telling me, he says, "Oh, this is so great, we have the most muscular body and all of this stuff." He says, "But the 60s are over. They made those muscle movies in the 60s. We don't do this anymore. Now totally the opposite is kind of the hero. Al Pacino is now the big star. Woody Allen is the big star. Dustin Hoffman. He says, now get it? All of those guys weigh anywhere between 140 and 150 pounds. And look at you. Almost is accusing me of something terrible. He says, look at you. You weigh 250. Are you kidding me? Do you think you're ever going to get a job? No. But we like you. So that we don't like you, he says, I help you opening up a health food store or something like that. But we can't help you to get into the movies. So that's the kind of excuses that I heard. But again, I went back in my mind to my bodybuilding days and said, well, how many times did I read about myself about bodybuilding? What is it? You're gonna make it or not? You're gonna go and get the biggest biceps in the world? You're gonna go and make the Mr. Universe nobody? Don't be ridiculous. They're gonna wait for you in London. And it was all the same excuses. So it was up to me to create a vision and then to chase that vision. And the same was in acting. I said to myself, okay, I understand that they are not very supportive at this time, but I'm going to go and work my ass off. I'm going to go, I spent 5.5 hours of training bodybuilding, so I'm going to spend 5.5 hours a day on my acting. So I took English classes, speech classes, acting classes, stunt classes, sword fighting, gun slinging classes, even accent removal classes. wrote this, and then eventually it started happening. Eventually I was getting a phone call from Lucille Ball. Arnold, I want you to do that TV show. I saw you on the Irv Griffin show and a talk show. Come in, let's meet. And I went in there and got the job. And I had this 7.5-minute scene with Lucille Ball and Mark Carney. And then I got the Jane Mansfield story, and then I got Stay Hungry, and the villain, and then it always went on and on, and all of a sudden I signed a contract for Conan the Barbarian. So all of a sudden now they looked at Pumping Iron, they looked at Stay Hungry, and they saw a guy in Brussels that could act. And they said, what about Conan the Barbarian? We could never find anyone that could play Conan the Barbarian, because we have no one around that has muscles like that. And so then they came to me and we signed a 5-picture deal. Well, think about that. A 5-picture deal with Universal Studio and Dino De Laurentiis, who was then the hottest producer, and Ed Pressman. And we went out and we started doing these movies. And the first movie came out, Conan the Barbarian, it was a huge hit internationally. I was talking all over the world, talking about how I'm switching over from bodybuilding competition to acting. It was a huge promotion. Then they did another one, and all of a sudden James Cameron comes to me and said, Arnold, I saw you, Conan, you would be perfect to play the Terminator. Then the Terminator part, and that was one of the top 10 movies of the year, that, according to Time magazine. And then all of a sudden I started winning awards for the Stay Hungry, and for movies like that, the Golden Globe Award for Best Acting Debut. And all of a sudden all kinds of things started happening, and I was doing Commander, I was doing Predator, I was doing Running Man, I was doing Red Heat, one action movie after the other, and all of a sudden it became the Schwarzenegger era, the action movie era. See what I'm saying? So this is what it is about when you have a clear vision. Everything was against me. They said there's no one that ever has become a leading man with an accent. No one. Then they said, okay, then I'm going to go and do 1,000 radio interviews in a year and get everyone used to my German accent. And it worked. It worked. People could see really when they tested my stuff. All of a sudden the dislikes went down and down and down, because the German accent that people only heard always in Nazi movies, playing villains. But then all of a sudden here was someone that was not a villain, someone that was a hero, like in Conan. Terminator, of course, was a villain. Jim Cameron told me, this is Arnold, the way I would film Terminator, you would be a villain and a hero at the same time. That's exactly what happened. Then we did Terminator 2 and all this stuff. So anyway, my movie career went through the roof because, again, I used the principles like in bodybuilding, I had a clear vision, and I was willing to work my ass off. Work, work, work. This is why I always said that work is the most important thing. Because after work comes success. The only time that success is before work is in the dictionary.